Hello and welcome to the first episode of the HempCast. I'm Flora Pastorero. The purpose of this podcast is not to advocate, but to educate, to separate hemp fact from hemp fiction. There is a common misconception that hemp is marijuana and marijuana is hemp. Although both plants come from the cannabis family, their purposes and effects on the mind and body are very different. Let's start with the history of hemp. Hemp has been around for thousands of years. Perhaps the earliest use, the plant was cultivated for textile fiber. Hemp is said to have thousands of uses, including nutritional and health benefits. Dr. John Neely of Turnpike Health and Wellness is our first guest. Dr. Neely, what kind of medicine do you practice here at Turnpike Health and Wellness?
Yes, we all practice something called functional medicine. What makes that different is instead of labeling somebody with a specific disease, we look at what systems the body needs to function and what's out of balance and how to correct it.
So it's a different type of medicine. It's not traditional medicine.
It's interesting because we use the same literature, we use a lot of the same approaches as standard medicine. We're just looking at it in a different way, and it opens up new ways of looking at health.
Let's talk about hemp and the revival of hemp, specifically how it has been incorporated into medicine. Talk to me about the hemp plant and the various components of hemp.
Well, hemp historically has been an extremely important plant. It has great fibers. It can be used back in the day. It was used for sailing ropes and sailing cloth for the sails. Nowadays it's used to make cloth for shirts and clothing and things like that. So it's very important along that way. In addition to that, the seeds of the plant offer valuable oils and various things that are good for edibles, and now there's an increased interest in health for that.
So what's the nutritional value from the hemp seed and the hemp oil?
Right. The hemp seed is actually very interesting. It is a little tiny seed that's enclosed in a heavy hull. So if you mix those up and use them, they are very high in fiber, which is good, but the meat on the inside is full of oil. So they can be pressed. You can eat them directly, but they can also be pressed into an oil, which is just great for things like salad dressings. I don't necessarily cook with it, but salad dressings are great. And they are very high in what are called essential fatty acids. Everybody knows about omega-3s and omega-6s like you get in fish. Well, hemp is a very high source of essential oils also.
What about the fiber? And is it full of protein as well?
Fiber is... there's a certain amount of protein in the seed itself, but it's mostly the oil that people are going after for their health benefits.
And can you eat the hemp seed? And you said you make a smoothie with them every morning?
Yeah, absolutely you can eat hemp seeds. I tell you how the best ways to use them. If you're making a smoothie with whatever you use, like for instance, I use almond milk maybe as my base, but then I'll put in all kind of fibers and chia seeds and things like that. I throw in a couple tablespoons of hemps, and I usually mix ones that are hulled with ones that aren't. So I get a little bit of the fiber, but I get more of the meat, and you blend them up. It's great that way. You can also toast them and put them on top of salads. It's very nutty in its flavor that way.
And the nutritional value from all of that, you're getting what?
You're getting mostly really healthy oils. We're always worried about getting oils that are not that are unhealthy for you, and those are mostly the oils that are easily damaged, that can become what are called trans fats. These are oils very similar to what you find in fish, very similar to kind of similar profile to olive oil and all of that too. So it's relatively tasteless, so it's great from a standpoint of a salad dressing.
It's good for that.
Right.
So the other component then to the hemp plant, you have the hemp oil. You also have CBD in the hemp plant.
Correct.
Let's talk about CBD.
Correct. CBD, or cannabidiol, is a component in the oil. Now, if you get regular hemp oil at the grocery store, which you can buy, it's probably about 2% CBD. So in order to make it pharmacologically active, some company needs to distill out the CBD oil and concentrate it. So now on the market you'll see CBD oil is becoming more readily available. What's so interesting about it is if you look at, for instance, the marijuana plant, which is very closely related but really different, it contains a combination of CBD and what's called THC, which is the psychoactive component. CBD doesn't have any of those qualities, but they do both bind to receptors in the body, both in the immune system and in the brain, and they work in slightly different ways. But there's a real interest in what we can do with CBD to help with health.
What can you do with CBD to help with health? What kind of ailments can it help with?
Well, I think we're learning a lot about what is going on with CBD, but the places where I see it very helpful is if somebody has pain, and it can be used for joint pain, muscle pain, generalized pain, sometimes for anxiety. I've seen it being used now for tremors. And there's a fair number of people that have these kind of funny, what are called essential tremors, and they just, particularly as they age up, and they're very aggravating, even though they're not life-threatening, but they're very aggravating if you're trying to eat soup or put on makeup or whatever. Mm-hmm. So trying to find things that can calm those kind of things down or to relieve pain. And the beauty of CBD is it can be used in many ways. You could, for instance, use it topically. So you could massage with it. You could just rub it on a joint. You can take it orally. And you can also, it can also be vaporized and inhaled that way.
What is in the CBD oil that's helping with the joint pain, that's helping with the tremors? What's the component and what's it doing to the body?
Well, cannabidiol is the active component in the hemp, and so cannabidiol is CBD. When biologists have looked at, well, where does it attach? It mostly does it in two places. One is it has receptors in the immune system. Well, the immune system causes inflammation if it gets riled up. So the thought is CBD will calm down the immune system, calm down the inflammation, and then you have less pain. The other is the receptors on nerves and in the brain directly that might be perceiving pain. So CBD is proposed as a way to calm down the nervous system's reaction to pain. So decrease inflammation, decrease the reaction to pain. That being said, there's a lot we're still learning about CBD. You know, how much to give, what's the best way to produce it, and all of that. Lots to learn yet.
Can it help with stress, anxiety, PTSD, things like that as well?
Seems to, and I think one of the things that we're going to be looking at carefully is because those same things are being okayed for use for medical marijuana, which of course has some CBD in it, but also has THC. My belief is, and there's some studies coming along now, that you need mostly CBD. Perhaps a tiny amount of the THC might be helpful, but not enough to give somebody a high, but just enough to kind of increase the activity of CBD. So I see the possibilities there of a CBD product that has just a touch of the THC in it to really make it a more potent thing to help with pain.
You touched on helping with tremors. What about seizures? Because a lot of people are turning to medical marijuana to help with their seizures. Can CBD help with seizures in adults and children?
Well, it's again being studied, but actually one of the very first CBD oils was made with parents who were desperate because their child was seizing all the time. And that particular oil, which is still available, is one of the kind of the original CBDs, and it was hemp oil that was concentrated. But we've become much more sophisticated in now concentrating it better and knowing exactly how much CBD is in products.
So it can help?
It can help. And I think one of the things now you're seeing on the market is there are almost tons of CBD products coming out there. And so I would advise people to seek some help in understanding which would be the best product, and particularly look for one that has direct documented measurements of the amount of CBD in it. So it will say 20 milligrams of CBD per milliliter or something along that line, and to make sure it's a good product that's valuable to use.
I think the biggest fear is, or there might be the misconception that a lot of people fear, if I use CBD oil, anything with CBD in it, that I'm going to get high. Is that going to happen?
No. CBD oil does not have any of those components of feeling high. So that's why one of the reasons why it's very safe to use along that line. It's not addictive. And so it's, a fine product to try. Will it work in all cases? Probably not. We're going to learn which ones it works for and not. But if I have somebody in pain or somebody with seizures and they've been through all the other things and they're trying to avoid opioids, for example, for pain, I'm certainly going to try them on CBD oil to see if it helps them.
We also talked to Suzanne Jones. She is a licensed massage therapist and gives CBD massages at Turnpaw. Suzanne Jones, you are a licensed massage therapist here at Turnpaw Health and Wellness. What does that mean?
Well, it means that I am a part of the medical community. It's the last 3 years in Pennsylvania we have come up with our own board, and we are now licensed medical professionals. And that's what licensure really gives us. It allows us to work legally and ethically. We take courses throughout the years to continue our education, and it just makes us more legitimate, a part of the medical community. Yeah.
You're doing massages now using products with CBD in them.
Well, I'm using one product that I found to be very, very effective. I don't know about every product for CBD, but the product that I'm using now is called CBD Clinic. It is both a topical analgesic as well as a cannabis medical ointment. And what I have found is the topical analgesics calm the muscles, and the CBD, this particular cannabis or cannabinoid, really, really softens and loosens the tissue to a significant level that I've never felt in any product for the past 26 years of being in this business. It's really remarkable.
So this is, again, the CBD that's having this interaction with the body and the muscles.
It is. And I believe that it's matching the cannabinoid that's already in our brain and having a neurologic response, a very positive, relaxing neurological response without the psychoactive properties of, say, THC.
Because these products don't have THC in
No,
them.
this is CBD. There's no psychoactive quality in this CBD product.
And can anyone benefit from this type of a massage using these CBD products?
Well, everyone is different. So I will say that I can't, by the board, say it will affect everyone positively. But I will say, in the people that I have worked on since I've been doing this, they've had tremendous, tremendous benefit. And because it calms the central nervous system, it's also benefiting people, say, with central nervous system disorders like Lyme. I've seen a tremendous benefit, particularly with chronic Lyme. I've seen tremendous benefit with people that have chronically held pain for whatever reason, whether it's age related, whether it's posturally related, depending on the kind of work they do. It's remarkable, and we sell out of it on a regular basis because of it. I think that that's the best. People notice it. Do you notice that it's softening your tissue? Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of magical, if I can use that word. I've never in my 26 years seen anything like it.
When did you start bringing CBD into your massages?
Well, actually, one of the young women that work in this office, she got a call from someone outside of the office saying that she did have a CBD massage. And she asked me if I would be willing to start employing that in my work, and I said certainly. You know, I would definitely give it a shot, just to see if it does affect the muscles positively. And again, this is tense muscles, usually chronically tense muscles, and it's remarkable. And I agreed to try it. We got CBD clinic in, and I immediately saw the difference in my patients.
We talked about the fact that just about anybody could benefit from this, but is there any type of person who needs to be careful about getting a massage
Yes.
with CBD in it?
Yes. What I have encountered in my own practice, because it does affect the brain, people that are overly sensitive to opioids. Now, it's not an opiate, but it is connecting to the cannabis like neural responses in the brain. So they have told me that they would rather not do the CBD oil, just because they're afraid that it might,
Sure.
Again, this is an overblown response to opioids, and I have to trust my patients, bottom line. Also, because it is a level 1 herb/drug, anybody that works for or in conjunction with the federal government, most of my clients that work for the federal government would rather not take it because it may show up on their blood tests.
Even if you're using a CBD product that doesn't have THC
Yes,
in it,
it's still
could show
cannabis.
up.
It's still cannabis. Whether it's THC or CBD, it's still cannabis.
And you have to be careful.
They do have to be careful. In the state of Pennsylvania, it's fine, but federally, it's still not legal.
With the passage of the Farm Bill, seems like everyone is jumping on the hemp bandwagon, producing products with CBD in them. Jones says while you may be tempted to purchase these products online, she advises always going with a reputable dealer. For more information on hemp, you can contact the Hemp Industries Association. I'm Flora Pastorero. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the HempCast.